Hi, welcome. This is Lulu from Gut Feeling Holistic Coaching. I want to talk with you today about the impact we make when we show up in spaces, social spaces, public spaces, groups. For a long time, being in a group setting was absolutely terrifying to me. I actually hid underneath the table during my parents' Christmas parties when I was a little girl, rather than being the one to mingle around and work the room and charm everyone with my childish antics. Nope, hid underneath the table. And for most of my adult life, I felt like doing that as well. Anytime it was a group setting. Didn't matter if it was a large group or small group, friends, professional contexts. Something about that multiple people gathered together I found really hard to be at ease in. So I've found some tools that work for me over time to be able to feel more confident, starting with accepting and loving myself more. So I have a lot more gentleness and spaciousness around how I think other people might be seeing me. There's still times, though, when I may be in those group settings and not feel like my intentions and values are what I'm expressing into the group. Or if I am, if I feel like I'm expressing them, maybe I don't feel like they're being received. There's some kind of a disconnect there between how I want to show up personally and to have personal impact and outcomes that feel good, and also to create the kinds of impacts I want to create in the world, and that I imagine some of you might want to create as well, where we feel connected and seen and like we're part of caring communities, and we're offering that to others as well. I know how we show up in these group spaces makes a difference. I see this even on silent meditation retreats where one person, without saying anything, can have a big, big power over the group. Sometimes that means one person who might not even really want to be at the meditation retreat. They might have internal resistance. Maybe they got dragged there by a friend, or their therapist told them they should come, and they just don't want to be there. And this is the kind of person who can stomp into the meditation hall and wriggle and rummage through their bags during the meditation. Without saying a word, that single person and the energy that they bring affects everyone around them. On the other hand, sometimes it just takes one person who can hold their seat in meditation with a real sense of calm and groundedness and stillness. And that can permeate the entire space around them, impacting everyone else and leading to them having a sense of a more stable, grounded meditation. So I know that it's obvious to observe this in a silent context, even with no words. The truth is, when we get out into our lives, into our workplaces, into our friend situations, it can get a lot noisier, both in our minds and just in the space around us. And it might not always be as obvious how we are impacting the space and how important it is for us to show up with clear intention in order to have the impact we want to have. So I want to share with you one of the key ways I've learned to increase the odds of cultivating the impact I want to have. And that's to bring a real intentionality to the values and motivation that I'm showing up in that particular context for. Sometimes, if I'm not clear on that when I walk into a group setting, the people around me might not be clear on it either. Imagine leaving a party with your friends and showing up at a funeral next. If we haven't taken the time to pause and reset and get clear on how we're showing up in this new space, we might walk into that somber, reflective atmosphere, still laughing and having a sense of lightness and irreverence that might not be quite right for the occasion. It's not that there's anything wrong with those qualities of lightness and irreverence, but when they don't jibe with the occasion and they don't really reflect how we want to show up in that space, we can feel muddy about it, and the people around us can feel confused or uneasy as well. So the process we might use when we're shifting from one space to the next is to really take a minute, whether it's in your car before you get out and walk into work, or if it's outside the doorway before you open it and move into your evening at home with the family. Whenever we have those changes, pausing for a moment and really clarifying for ourselves, what is my intention here? What are my values in this space that I'm moving into? How do I want to show up for it? We can even pause and do a brief body drop-in, checking into how do I feel right now, and how would it feel to be fully expressing the qualities that I want to bring to this next setting. If I'm walking in at the end of a long day to see my loved ones, I can sense into what does that kind of lightness and happiness feel like? Can I tap into it in a somatic way so that that's the energy I bring with me when I show up, instead of maybe a really heavy, stressed day from all of the tedious tasks I might have been doing. And then once we've identified what values and intentions we want to bring to the space, how it feels in our body right now and how we want it to feel, then we create space to possibly make a shift. And we can ask ourselves that internally. Where could I shift so that I'm really ready to show up fully and have the impact I want to have in this next space? So those are the 3 steps that I use, and that I'm curious to hear if you use anything like that or how those go for you. Getting clear on our intentions and values, tapping into what it feels like in our body now and how we want it to feel when we're in alignment, and inquiring, where could I make a shift before I move into this next social situation? I've found that bringing that kind of awareness and intentional presence has made it much more fluid and natural for me to feel like I'm having the impact I want to have in groups of people. And when I have that clarity and feel like the people around me are receiving those messages of clarity, then I feel better about the situations afterwards. I don't have so much of that social hangover kind of feeling. Anyway, please leave me a message, reach out to me on my website. Let me know what your experience is with this. and how bringing intentionality to your motivations and values impacts how you show up to create the spaces you want to create and have the impact you want to have in your life. Thank you.